Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
British Spy Stories Season 5 Kill or Be Killed. Episode 18. The Audi R8 drops down through the Swiss mountains and passes the mighty Lenzerhorn peak before Kate reaches the valley floor. She opens up the engine along the A3 autobahn, then cuts through the flatlands beside the banks of the Wallensee. This road is fast, and she keeps up her speed all the way north until she's only a few miles from her destination. Her main objectives now are to get an accurate geolocation for her stolen data and to identify the person who wanted to have her killed. In order to do both of those, she needs a powerful computer connected to the dark web. There's only one place that she knows that has a machine like that locally, and that's in her own apartment in Zurich. Kate had spent a year lobbying MI6 Tech Branch for her high-spec Mac. Her argument had been that, as an MI6 assassin, she needs detailed knowledge of the illegal killings that are being carried out by criminal gangs and terrorist organizations across Europe. The only way to keep across all of that is via the dark web, where death can be ordered and delivered with anonymity. But there was another reason too that she didn't tell them. Kate is a gamer and spends many nights fighting online on sites that are both legal and less so. When she reaches Zurich, she drives twice around the block near her flat to check there are no MI6 minders lurking in the shadows. Her reason for taking Riverside's rented Audi was to provide some degree of cover. Anyone who has researched her will know her Mercedes, but the R8 gives her a mask, at least for now. After scanning the faces in the streets and finding nothing suspicious, she steers down into the parking. Once in the flat, Kate pulls out a giant margarita pizza from the freezer and levers the top off a bottle of Feldschlösschen beer before she sits in front of her computer. She runs the MI6 strike application before she does anything else. This will tell her if anyone is monitoring her online activity. The marker goes green immediately, showing that someone has placed an online tracer on her. This could be London Control, just looking after their field assets, but she can't be sure. She switches on a blocker application and moves her VPN, so she appears to be in an internet cafe on Rua do Resende in downtown Rio de Janeiro. She launches her Tor browser and dives into the shadowy online world of the dark web. Kate finds dozens of code blocks for applications that can trace records on the dark sites. She loads some of them into a secure container and runs them against the unique data identifier that is attached to her personal data. But as the hours tick by, she gets no positive results. Kate sets another pirate application running while she goes to put the pizza in the oven and open another beer. While the data search software purrs away in the background, she starts to search on sites that advertise mercenary work, where ex-soldiers find that their skills are invaluable. She gets frustrated after another hour of drawing a blank, and she's nearly ready to quit for the night, when she gets the first sniff of something. On a site called Aristide, that deals with killers for hire, she puts in her criteria and gets 10 pages of results in a tiny font. Kate laboriously clicks through all of the records, each one being a request for a murder. In the middle of the last page, She sees the words that she has been looking for. Here, at last, is the order for a mercenary to find and kill her. She uses a hacker application to break the back of the site and explore the internal messaging. The two killers had accepted the job 3 days ago and been promised 20,000 Swiss francs. But the shocking information is what comes next. Kate's stolen data identifier is included in the set of instructions to allow the killers to find her using a geolocation app and to track her anywhere in the world. That's how the mercenaries knew that she was on the banks of the reservoir exactly at the moment that they attacked. This means that the name of the client for the kill order and the people who either stole or bought the data are somewhere on this site. After more trawling of the code, she discovers that client names are locked behind another firewall. Kate copies the code base to her machine before altering it to create a temporary security hole. She'll have 1 minute before the servers delete and reinsert the original code and close her firewall breach. If she's still inside the site when that happens, the servers will detect her machine and remotely wipe it, thinking that it's an attack node. Kate loads her altered code into the breaker tool and pauses. She sets a countdown clock on the screen at 60 seconds, then presses launch on the breaker. The code deploys, and she's in. Kate tracks through the site structure. 45 seconds. She finds the next layer of security and has to find a login file before she can go further. 30 seconds. She dives down into the site and has to manually search the record's structure. 15 seconds. Finally, she reaches the master user record. She scrolls through 50 data items. Nothing. Then another 50. And on the last page, there is the identifier she needs. She hits copy and runs, back up through the code structure. She emerges from the final firewall, collapses her breaker session, and the timer sounds on her screen. Kate pulls up a text box and presses paste. A notification appears at the top of her screen. The search software has found a geo-record for her unique data identifier. There's a network address displayed. She copies it into a mapping app and converts it to a grid reference. Her data is in the city of Annecy, on the Swiss-French border. The place is only 4 hours away by road. Kate returns to her text box to see the name of the person who ordered her kill and who is either the seller or the buyer of her data. She takes a sudden breath inwards, and the glow from the display outlines the shock on the bones of her face. For a full 30 seconds, she stares at the screen, not believing what it says. Then she pulls up Oberon, MI6's central operations system, and goes into encrypted messaging. She finds the name of the man she needs to talk to and clicks on the direct call button. After 2 rings, he answers. Coniston.
Hello, Sir Bernard.
You've been well hidden, Catherine. He flicks his eyes to a display on his mahogany desk in the MI6 headquarters. The screen shows Kate's location as Rio.
I've been tracing the data leak, sir. I've got a geolocation for the string, and I'll go and collect it. But that's not why I'm calling you.
Go on.
Riverside and I were attacked 2 days ago by mercenaries. They knew where we were, and that information could only have come from someone with my data and using it to geolocate me. So either the buyer or the person who stole it.
Sir Bernard waits.
The name on the record, on the dark website, is Henry Caldwell, sir, the head of MI6 European operations.
There's a second of silence. You're certain, Coniston, are you?
I am, sir. I thought I'd make you aware.
Leave it with me, Catherine.
Yes, sir.
Are you coming back into the fold now? It's cold out there, without support.
I'll get my data back, sir, and then I'll come in.
Go carefully. She ends the call and walks to her gun store, hidden in the back of her wardrobe. Kate removes an SA-80 automatic weapon from its secure case, takes more bullets for her Glock 17, plastic explosive, detonators, and her black Virtus body armor. She throws everything into a long green army bag and makes her way down to the Audi. Of all the places in the world, this is the last place that Louis wants to be. His taxi draws up at the Chateau Froissart, and the grey gates start to glide open. When he'd been planning this approach to break the news to Rose about her lost sister, his first preference had been to meet her in Brussels, on his home turf. That would have provided some comfort, as he could have just walked out if things went awry. But when he'd called her yesterday, she'd said that that would be impossible, despite her urgency to know what he'd found out about the opaque Eleanor Royce. Her diary just wouldn't allow her to visit Brussels for several weeks. The taxi moves off down the driveway and slips back to the gatehouse, leaving Louis standing in the light. His bag is picked up by a maid. She leads him into the entrance hall, then shows him the room he has been given on the first floor, along the side of the house that overlooks the woodland.
"Drinks at 6:30, monsieur. Downstairs," she says, and bobs a curtsy as she leaves him. Louis unpacks his clothes and takes the hip flask that his mother gave him from a side pocket in his case. He settles into a red leather armchair by the leaded windows of his room and watches the dusk invade the light blue sky on the horizon. He takes a swig of the whiskey in the flask and feels it burn slightly. Maybe this meeting with Rose will be his big break. Maybe he can get a significant payment from her to keep all of this quiet about Eleanor Royce. Maybe he will get enough to buy somewhere back in Lyon near his mother. She needs someone around now that she's getting on. As he walks down the main staircase of the chateau on his way to meet Rose at 6:30, a group of 20 people are emerging from one of the side corridors and chatting noisily. He turns into the sitting room and can see the garden lights have been switched on to show off the grounds of the house beyond the glass. There's a trolley standing by the sofa, crammed with bottles, but he doesn't serve himself as he's not sure what's expected. "Louis!" Her voice is buoyant when she appears 5 minutes later. They kiss cheeks. "I'm sorry I couldn't travel to you," says Rose. She seems genuine to him in that moment. She serves them both champagne and beckons him to stand on the veranda outside. "I wanted you to meet Clive, my new chap," she says. "But he's out tonight. He has dinner with friends up in the mountains. You may see him later." "Where did you meet?" he says. Rose pauses for a moment, wondering how to politely describe what has happened. "I stole him, Louis. When I see something I want, I take it." She smiles with excitement across her face, then drinks champagne. "It seems much busier here in the chateau," he says. "I saw a big group earlier." "They're from the basement offices. I have a new project." He looks at her and waits for more, but she doesn't offer any words at first. Then she says, "It's a big project, bigger than I've ever done. It will make me €1 billion, Louis. €1 billion euros. Can you believe it?" He doesn't ask more, as she's making him feel uncomfortable. Rose walks back inside to refill their flutes, and as she returns he feels that this is his opportunity. His heart rate rises, at the same time that a flock of birds climbs in silhouette over the trees
at the far end of the garden.
I did the research we talked about,
he says. She drinks from her glass.
About Eleanor Royce, the woman who's been meeting Mikhail Norgard to extract sensitive information. And what did you find?
Her eyes sparkle.
She's been in Brussels every week for the last year, meeting senior people.
Rose is entirely focused on his words.
I asked my contacts about her, and I confirmed that her name is not Eleanor Royce. As we thought. Before I go on,
he says, his mouth dry,
I was hoping that this information could have a value for you. It does. Most certainly, Louis. I mean, a financial value, a reward, as it were, for finding out about her. You want a fee?
The edges of her eyes hold a smile.
I'm happy to pay you. Money has never been a concern for me personally. How much do you want? €500,000.
Rose is stopped in her tracks.
$500,000?
She can't think of anything else to say immediately. Louis remains silent. His brain wants to suggest a lower figure, but in the spirit of his newfound bravado, he decides to leave the ball in her court.
Well,
she says after 2 seconds,
let's hear what you found, and if it's worth $500,000, then fine.
It's now or never, he thinks. He has the passing image of being on a roller coaster and teetering on the edge of the big drop.
She's your sister,
he says.
Clémence.
Rose's eyebrows pull together.
What are you talking about? Your father had another daughter before you.
She shakes her head.
Sorry, Louis, someone's tricked you. I have no siblings. I am my parents' only child.
He pushes his fingers into his jacket and pulls out a folded piece of paper.
Here.
He offers it to her. The look on Rose's face is dismissive, as though she has no time for this stupid game.
What is this?
Her birth certificate. Rose unfolds the paper and reads.
As you can see, she was born 40 years ago in London. Her father is Alain Froissart, and her mother is a woman called Victoria Grosvenor. Clémence was born in Chelsea, a year before you. That makes her the heiress to the Froissart estate. Obviously a fake,
she says, trying to maintain her pleasant smile.
I thought you had high-quality contacts, Louis. This is all some sort of a joke. I checked, Rose. It's all true. This birth certificate is an original, certified copy from the Chelsea Registry Office in London that I had airmailed over to me.
She empties her flute, and her eyes flick across the trees in the distance.
How many people know about this? Did you tell anyone else? I thought you'd want to keep it private, given the implications,
he says. Louis is surprising himself. He never thought that he could be this in control.
I'm sure you'd agree that this is worth $500,000. Quite.
She smiles again.
Would you excuse me for a moment?
He nods formally and she glides away into the house. Louis is feeling pleased. He didn't believe that he could pull this off. He takes a deep breath out in satisfaction. After 5 minutes, a butler emerges from the house.
Monsieur, the Comtesse requests that you join her in the drawing room.
Louis hands the man his glass and is led across the lounge and into the hallway. The butler opens the double doors to a room and Louis steps inside.
Madame won't be a moment, monsieur.
He shuts the doors behind him. The only sound is the grandfather clock in the corner of the room, marking out the seconds from its 200-year-old woodwork. Louis thinks he hears the merest creak of a floorboard behind him. Then a cloth is over his mouth and nose. He breathes in and almost chokes. The hand presses on his skin. His eyes start to blur. Then he can't keep them open. And the room goes black. Episode 19. The sun is a red and orange ball on the horizon to the west of London. Elodie sips her gin and tonic and checks the time. He'll be here soon. She hears the front door slam 10 seconds before Oliver appears in the sitting room. "I've had a bloody awful day," he says, and pours what looks to his girlfriend to be a triple whiskey. She doesn't ask what has happened, because she knows that he's going to tell her anyway. "We lost our dollar position, all due to some idiot in New York taking 3 minutes to place a trade, by which time we hit a 50-pip movement and lost our gains the last 2 days.
Is 50 pips big?"
"What?" He looks disgusted at her lack of understanding. "Oh, forget it." If her childhood in New York taught her one thing, it's to never give up when someone puts you down. And her voice rises in the air.
"You've been so damn grouchy for a week now, since that guy had a car crash in Spain. All you've done is say how shitty your life is."
"Yeah? Well, that car crash wasn't an accident. They killed him." He pauses, then adds, "You happy now?"
"You're being ridiculous. Not everyone's out to get you, you know that. Everything doesn't revolve around you, Oliver."
"It happened. One moment I was talking to Raphael about going it alone. Next thing I know, he's dead. I don't believe it was an accident."
"This ain't the movies."
He pauses to let his anger filter away slightly. "It's that woman I told you about. She wanted me to work for her. Then she started bossing me around when I went down to France in her castle."
"What did she do?"
Oliver turns to the lights across the water. He doesn't turn back to Elodie, so she walks to stand beside him. "Raphael and I were talking on a video call the night before his car crash."
"So?"
She frowns. "Rose must have been listening in. We were discussing cutting her out of the deals. We said we didn't need her. We're the ones taking the risk. We're the ones with the contacts. It's us whining and dining the execs to get their corporate secrets. She's doing nothing."
"Didn't she start the organization?"
says Elodie. "That means nothing. Whose side are you on?" She narrows her eyes.
"What do you know about her?"
"Rich, old money. She'll inherit a few $100 million next year."
"Has she broken the law before? Has she got forming these ideas that you have about her?"
"She said she had a ton of experience," says Oliver.
"You gonna look into her background? When you start trading up work with a new company, you go through a vetting procedure, don't you?"
"Yeah, of course."
"And are you gonna do the same for her?"
Elodie's on a roll now.
"And do you know for sure that she had the guy killed? It could just be your imagination."
She stands directly in front of him. "He died the next day," says Oliver. "Within 12 hours of our video call. I could be next."
"But there's nothing you can do about it, is there? Don't worry about things you can't change."
"I'm going to go to the police." He looks at her feline eyes. "I'm going to tell them that Rose was trying to get me to break the law, but I said no."
"I thought you wanted some easy money."
She's touchy-feely now. He sighs. "Maybe. I can't think straight. I'm going to the club. You coming?" She shakes her head. Oliver gets up and she hears the shower running. Then 10 minutes later he calls out, "Don't wait up." The front door slams. She pours herself another drink and looks at the sky, wondering why she can't see the stars in this part of the city. Elodie picks up her phone and dials a number.
"He's spooked,"
she says into the mouthpiece.
"He was talking about going to the police. He thinks he'll be killed too, after what happened to Raphael."
"We didn't kill Raphael," says Rose down the line.
"Oliver doesn't know that."
"You need to stop him, Elodie."
"That's why I'm paying you, to be his guardian angel and look after him. I can't stop him going to the police, can I?"
"You must.
If you can't convince him, he's right.
He will be the next to die." There's a click in the earpiece, and Rose has gone. Rue de Usine runs all the way from the back gates of the Annecy station yard to the industrial area, squeezed into the first 3 blocks to be as near to the railway as possible. Kate parks the Audi R8 on a side road, 100 yards away from the Target warehouse. There are few streetlights in this section of the estate, as the warehouses here are only half built. She opens the car boot, unloads her equipment and starts to walk. The research that she has done today has given her a more detailed knowledge of the building that houses her stolen data. Kate pored over the floor layout and server details of the place all afternoon to ensure that she can operate as effectively as possible once she starts her attack. Her blonde hair is tied up under a helmet 5D that looks like a black woolen beanie on the outside, but has a thick steel lining underneath. The lower half of her face is covered in a net mask, and she has a pair of night vision goggles pushed up on her forehead in case she needs to operate in low lighting. Her choice of the black Virtus body armor allows her to move at speed through the shadows. She takes an alleyway on one side of the main road that she knows will get her to the target more quickly. Kate has her handgun in a holster over her body armor, and her automatic weapon is slung across her back as she approaches the side door of the warehouse. She places plastic explosive in the lock, pushes a Bluetooth detonator in, then wraps silencer compound on top of the explosive to absorb the sound. She walks back to the fence line, pulls up the control app on her phone, shields her eyes, and presses the button on the screen. There's a muffled bang, and smoke rolls out from the keyhole. The door inches open in the moonlight, and she steps inside. Kate knows that the main body of the storage area is immediately in front of her. She turns right and skirts the wall of the building, keeping low and treading as quietly as she can. There are a few red emergency security lights high up on the roof beams of the warehouse that give the merest suggestion of illumination. A metal staircase reaches up to the first floor, and Kate starts to step up towards the rooms where the servers are located. She draws her Glock as she reaches a set of wide windows that look into the computer rooms. She ducks down to reach the far side, but halfway along, she pulls out what is known in MI6 as a beetle. These micro cameras are disguised as a common furniture beetle, only 4.5 millimeters long. Kate sticks one to the bottom of the window as she goes by, and takes cover behind storage cupboards when she reaches the far side of the walkway. On her phone screen, she can see the video feed from the beetle showing the computer room. There are 3 technicians working on various nighttime maintenance tasks, and a large security guard sitting on a chair near the doors. When the security guard stands up and goes to make a coffee, she positions herself outside the door to the IT room. There's a moment when she checks the video feed, then raises her boot and rams it hard next to the handle. The door flies back and slams against the wall.
"Everyone on the ground!"
she shouts. The technicians comply, but the security man draws his weapon. She fires one shot, and he falls to the floor. The technicians all look scared.
"You!"
She grabs one of the IT staff.
"With me!"
She hauls him up and dumps him into one of the chairs near a keyboard and screen.
"Access the system."
He types, and the login screen is replaced by an array of coloured boxes showing servers and connections.
"Go to this location on the server farm,"
says Kate, handing the man a card with the file address on it that she had broken out of the back of the dark website. The man types and clicks.
"Those files there."
She points to the screen.
"The ones that start LQ125G. Copy them onto an external drive."
The man drags the files across to a drive on the screen, and the percentage starts to show progress. They're both watching the numbers when Kate hears a scraping noise across the room. She looks up, and the security guard is on his knees. There is blood on his face, but he has a handgun pointed at her. The sound of his gun going off fills the office, and Kate feels the air move next to her face as the bullet thuds into the wall behind her head. She swings the SA-80 round from her back and pulls the trigger. Bullets shower the security guard, and he drops out of sight. But she can't tell if she hit him or he was quick enough to get back to cover. She aims her automatic weapon at the last place he was standing and takes one step, then another, and another, inching towards his hiding place. He bobs up again to check her whereabouts, and she showers the wall with gunfire. The guard is not giving up. He raises his handgun and fires back. Kate is forced to take evasive action and duck down below the desk line. She looks back at the IT technicians. The man who was copying the files has returned to the floor during the gun battle. Kate crawls along the floor to the end of the desks, gets up on her haunches, and dives for the aisle where the security guard has cover. They both fire, and he slumps backwards onto the floor.
Wherever Bud goes, his harmonica goes with him. It's a pocket full of soul. Now he's living with prostate cancer. He asked his doctor about Xtandi enzalutamide. Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. Talk to your doctor and visit Xtandi.com.
There are no more sounds after that in the room. Kate moves to the man's body. He's not moving, and she checks for a pulse. There's none. She stands up and returns to the IT desk. The files have been copied.
Give me the drive.
The technician hands it to her.
Now delete the original files.
She barks.
And delete the trash.
She watches him like a hawk. And when she's satisfied that the copies have been destroyed, she sits the 3 technicians on the ground, back to back, and zip ties their arms and legs together. She stows the drive in her jacket and runs back across the metal walkway, in front of the windows, then down the staircase. Kate stops to make a call to London Control. It's Agent Kerwell on duty.
Kerwell, it's Coniston. I need an immediate global open network search for identifier LQ125G.
Hold, he says in her earpiece. The operator runs an app on the control desk inside MI6 headquarters at Vauxhall Cross. I'm getting nil return, Coniston.
You sure?
Yeah, nothing.
That's great, Kerwell, thank you. That's what I needed you to say. Notify Sir Bernard that the data has been recovered, and I'm back on grid later tonight.
Will do, Kate. As she ends the call, the dim security lights in the main storage area of the warehouse turn off. The place is now pitch black. Gunfire immediately comes out of the darkness. The security guard must have sent an alarm before she ended his life. She pulls the night vision goggles down and her sight is flooded with the monochrome green glow from the device. Kate swings her SA-80 around her body and moves across the space to a central aisle. She can hear running feet at the far end of the warehouse. Then she sees one of the infiltrators coming for her, outlined in the eerie green light of the goggles. He fires and Kate does the same, but the green man drops out of sight behind storage shelves. Another figure appears on her right-hand side, again running, again firing. Kate ducks into cover. She maneuvers to get a clean shot with her handgun and hits the running figure, who falls down, but she can't see if he's still moving or not. The first gunman reappears, now running at speed directly for her. Kate fires, but misses. Bullets shower around her, pinging off the shelving and packing cases. The man keeps coming. She has 10 left in her handgun. She takes 6 shots and hits him in the leg. He staggers, but he's not down. She fires 1 round and he collapses. As she's thinking that she's done enough to get away, a third green figure comes out of the darkness. This one doesn't fire, but keeps running. His hand grabs her clothing, and he throws her against the shelving. The man is strong, and Kate struggles to land any sort of blow in retaliation. He punches her in the face, and she can feel blood splatter from her nose, and pain ram up into her skull. Her fingers lose grip of the Glock, and it skids away across the concrete. She's losing this fight. Kate roars a shout at the top of her voice to get her momentum back. She grabs his jacket and holds on with one hand. She reaches around to her SA-80 and brings it across her body. Kate pushes the muzzle into his chest and squeezes the trigger. He judders with the force and spins around before his face crashes into the racking, and the metalwork slices a deep cut in his flesh as he slides to the floor. Kate runs for the exit. The night air hits her body as she slams out of the main doors near the roadway. She flips up the night vision goggles, swings her weapon onto her back, and jogs to her vehicle. Just under a minute later, she drops into the Audi and lays back in the driver's seat. Her breath comes hard and fast at first, and her nose continues to drip blood down onto her lap. Slowly, she gets her respiration back under control. Kate finds a medkit in the glove box and pushes bandage up into her nose to stop the bleeding. She mentally checks for any other injuries, but she has only some bruising on her face and cuts on her cheek. She looks in the mirror. Her face is a mess. Kate starts the engine, turns the Audi in the roadway, and heads for home.